This video chart presentation of Lee Enterprises. Lee is a New York Stock Exchange listed company trading our ticker LEE. Wanted to wrap this week up with an uptrending stock that might merit a little bit of caution because Lee's having a very difficult time poking through a resistance point right up around $3.10, maybe $3.20. Almost looks like it's forming a double top. I want to keep an eye on this stock, see if it can actually break through that resistance, because if it doesn't, there's a possibility it's going to pull all the way back down to the mid to low $2 range. Now we certainly see the MACD's pulled back from highs, and the histogram bars are giving hints that a bearish cross may be coming. The ADX has cooled off as well, dropping from above 50 all the way back down to around 20. That tells me that the upward pressure has lost a lot of its strength. The money flow index, this is actually in a pretty nice position, holding up near 80, holding the upper half of the indicator, which is something that we always look for. That tells me people are paying higher prices for the stock over average periods. But again, you can see this 14 curling back downward. You can see the 21 starting to curl back downward. All signs of potentially the stock starting to lose some strength at that top end. The accumulation distribution. Again, you can see how strong this chart was. Obviously, it made a great climb. You can see now it hasn't been making new higher highs, and it looks like it's taken on a little bit of selling pressure compared to buying pressure. And that's also shown in this Chaikin money flow, which is moving back down towards zero. When it's at zero, that basically indicates that over 20 periods, buying and selling pressure is equal. Commodity channel also making slightly lower highs. And of course, technically it's not a buy unless it breaks back up through 100. And it's a hold at that point until it breaks back down through 100. But what I'm seeing here is the stock's losing a little bit of steam. Again, the CCI is basically a barometer of current price versus the 20-day mean. So I always want to see this making higher highs to show that people are paying higher prices for the stock, which is obviously a bullish indication. Full stow also up high, holding well over top of 50. That indicates bullish momentum is still being sustained in the play, and that's still a positive sign for the chart. So we're definitely starting to see some mixed signals in these indicators. Now the tricks, it's a lagging indicator. Holding over top of zero is exactly what you want to see, and this bullish cross right through here is again an optimistic sign of trend. And similar to the full stow, the RSI is a gauge of momentum. Holding the upper half of the indicator shows there's bullish momentum in the play. But what I notice in this, again, is that it's not making a new high or high. And that becomes a bit of a concern if we're looking for this stock to break out. Now, it's not to say that this chart's in a terrible position. Obviously, it's been very bullish. Found a real nice base here in April around $1.20. Huge climb all the way up to $3, holding nearly all of those gains. 50-day moving average trending upward, 200-day moving average trending upward. A lot of bullish indications in this. And if it can break through this resistance, I'll go ahead and say it starts right there around $3.10. See, it's never closed above that point. It's going to run right through to 320 to try and establish a new high. Those are the key points to the upside. And I think it's notable it will pick up some dynamic support from this 50-day moving average. You can see through here, dips slightly below it, but then pushed right back upward again. So I'd look for some support right through that range. But if it doesn't hold that, it doesn't really pick up more support until down around 225. That's a pretty hefty downside, closing at 297 on Thursday. You can see volumes tapering off a little bit since the run up from $2.30 back up to $3.10. Again, I take that as a sign of indecision. If this is going to break out, I'm certainly going to want to see a taller volume bar like that to blow through that top. And on the downside, if I see this as a red volume bar, meaning the stock closes down, I'd be a bit concerned that it may blow right through that 50-day. This is really an interesting chart because of that definitive resistance point. It could have a big upside if it can make a move like that and blow through that resistance. And conversely, it could have a pretty heavy downside if it takes on some selling pressure and just runs out of steam trying to break through that resistance. Right now, the indicators are actually giving hints it looks like it might move to the downside. So it's one to pay attention to going forward to see if it's just a reset or if indeed this play's just running out of steam and this is going to form a double top, which can be a very bearish pattern overall. So we'll just keep an eye on this going forward, see which direction the chart chooses. It's always a good technical analysis learning lesson to see if these signs of negative divergence play themselves out and the stock breaks to the downside or not. As always, merely my interpretation of the LEE chart. Thank you for watching. Trade smart.